It was Fray Juan de la Torre who chose the site on the banks of the Loboc River. Loboc has always been considered an important trade center with rich freshwater resources. In fact, 18th century chroniclers described it as the capital of Bohol, a reference to the central location of Loboc in the island. Thus, the importance of this structure. On the exterior walls, the insignia of the Jesuits is clearly carved. And yet, after the Jesuits were expelled from the Philippines, it was the Augustinian Recollects who took over. Much of the structure we see today is their addition. The church runs parallel to the river and is shaped like a cruciform. On the portico facade are bas-reliefs of San Pablo and Pedro. And interspersed among the arches and the Jesuit insignia are symbols of the Augustinian order. Inside, one's eye is drawn immediately to the ceiling, adorned by the works of Canuto Avila, his son Ricardo, and Rey Francia. These three artists decorated the ceiling in the early part of this century. The most compelling of the murals is the one that hangs over the center nave. It depicts the patroness of the church, Our Lady of Guadalupe, saving the church from the Great Flood of 1876. It is said that the waters raged to a height of 5 meters, lapping at the very pedestal of the Dark Virgin. Similar floods occurred in 1848 up until 1984. But always, the people of Loboc say the Dark Virgin's robes have never been touched by the waters of the river. And the floods have ceased to do damage to the 5 major retablos of the church. Here, saints as varied as San Vicente Ferrer, Santa Monica, Santa Lucia, and various manifestations of the Virgin as Nuestra Señora de la Correa and Nuestra Señora de Guadalupe are housed. In the convento, one finds the Volada, a cantilevered outdoor gallery, as a distinguishing feature. Like Baclayon, Loboc is an entire complex that includes a mortuary chapel, a school, and a bell tower built separately from the church. Today, visitors may wonder why the foundations of a bridge mar the symmetry of the complex. This folly was begun in the 1980s and would have very well destroyed the view and the ancient church had not Bohol's citizens raised their concerns over the desecration. In the town of Loay, the church is dedicated to the Holy Trinity. On the facade, a medallion with the eye of God is borne up by 2 angels. The inscription, Deus Trinus et Unus, honors the one and triune God. The image of the Trinity is repeated in the Retablo Mayor, along with an added feature, the blindfolded figure of faith sitting amidst a lacework heaven of metal and wood. This representation and the method by which it is achieved is unique to this church. By the bell tower, which stands apart from the church, one gets an unparalleled view of the surrounding country, as seen from Loai's sweeping staircase of the 34 steps. The Nuestra Señora de la Luz, or Birhen sa Casilak, is the patroness of the Church of Loon. Church is considered the crowning glory of Recollect architecture in Bohol. It is certainly one of the grandest in the whole of the Visayas. Queenly she is, an image complemented by the graceful town plaza over which the church reigns. Adding to the air of nobility is the carved inscription dedicating the church to the Queen Isabel, as well as the Virgin Mother. Inside, it is the Queen of Heaven whose life is commemorated in 4 bas-reliefs flanking the main retablo. From the Annunciation to the Visitation, from the Nativity to the Presentation at the Temple. These mix with mystical representations from the Litany of Loreto, all praising the Virgin through a language of symbols. If these churches honor the various guises of the Virgin, the Church of Anda honors the Christ child, the beloved Santo Niño. And as if in an invitation to play and frolic like the Christ child, the church is situated at the end of a vast open field fronting a lovely beach. Outside, the church is simple, forthright even, the shape of a Latin cross, with a 4-sided cupola topping the structure. Inside, the wealth of ornamentation dazzles the visitor. Again, the use of murals by the artist Ray Francia, who painted this almost reachable representation of heaven. The ceiling is one of the best preserved of its kind in Bohol. In the main retablo, there is a diminutive image of the Santo Niño. These are Bohol's treasures of the faith, kind and dependable repositories of prayer and supplication. And all throughout the island, other churches stand. Some may be less grand, others not as well preserved, but all telling a similar story. All tell the tale of a collective soul that returns time and again to faith. In Bohol, we see soul in both tradition and faith, in humble craft and inspired edifice, in nature and its panoramas. This soul is one that the Boholano willingly shares, even in tourist events that may otherwise turn stagey and false. In the annual commemoration of Sikatuna's blood compact with Legazpi, held every March, the Sandugo, or blood compact, is theatricalized and re-energized through music and dancing, costumes and tableau.